Ladies and gents, welcome back to DreamHack Open 2013. You're watching twitch.tv/AxelToss. We just saw live take out Morrow 2-0. It wasn't too big of an issue. Here we are in match number 2 of the day. This is from Group 2. This is the first match for both of these two gentlemen. Already in the group, Night End went 2-1 over Squirtle. Here we are in game 1 of this best of 3. Top left-hand location. I present to you the American hero. Flying all the way to DreamHack. From California, he attends UC Berkeley. And he is a fierce competitor for their CSL team, a member of Team Evil Geniuses. Came out of nowhere to join Evil Geniuses about a year ago. And he's been doing great things ever since. He got top 8 at the World Championships in the Blizzard World Championships in 2012 in Shanghai. Can he perform well at DreamHack here today? He is Suppy. His opponent in the bottom right-hand location needs no introduction whatsoever. Everyone knows who he is. Shocked everyone by making it as far as he did in the last DreamHack, involving a ridiculous match versus Jaedong that involved plenty of mind game shenaniganry. Dubbed the King of the North by some, he is Naniwa. Team Alliance. The Alliance. We're live right here, right now. These players are at DreamHack. They're sitting across from each other, tapping on their keyboards, getting ready to go. Of course, this is just a group. This is a group match for them, but a victory here would be huge for either of them. It's a very tough group. Naniwa, Suppy, Night End, and Squirtle. Actually, a pretty insane group. Arguably the group of death in the second group stage. Looking at the openings here, we got Naniwa with the Gateway first opening, adding on a Zealot. The map is Belshire Vestige. Fairly standard map in ZVP. Of course, we talked a little bit about this yesterday with Cats when I brought Cats onto the stream. Zergs don't like it too much. There's a lot of corridors. At least this is what Cats told me. There's a lot of corridors that Protoss can work with. Force fields and whatnot. Lots of corridors you can work with. Lots of sneakiness. Let's see what Naniwa does here. It's going to be up to Naniwa, I think, to really dictate the pace of this game. As far as, does he go for a 3-gate, 4-gate timing push? Does he follow it up with a Stargate opening? Right? Does he just stay on 2 bases, or does he take a third? Now, Suppy's going to look out for all of this, right? First thing is sending that Overlord directly over his opponent's natural expansion, identifying the timing of the Nexus, knowing it's a gateway first, and he has this Overlord ready and waiting to sneak in. This is a great place for an Overlord, I think. One of the hardest places to scout is right here. And look, he might send his third Overlord. Let's see where he sends that. He might send it down here. But sending his first here and sending his second here. That way he can keep an eye on these gases with this Overlord, and he can commit to this location, scouting, with this Overlord, right? Because this is probably the most common tech choice. Now, I'm sure Naniwa has identified this, that this Overlord is here. He saw it fly over. So if he places tech, it shouldn't be in this location. Probably the best place might be like right here. Let's see, right here might be the best. Actually, no, I don't know what would be the best. So this is great Overlord placement. Now, Suppy opening up with speed here, very common tactic when you're dealing with the gateway opening. But here we go. Naniwa going across the map with a Zealot and a Probe. Mothership Core overhead. Kind of spacing out those units to try to identify any Lings, any Overlords possible. And we have 3 additional gateways here from Naniwa. So going for some 4-gate aggression. Suppy should know about this right now. Spotting these gases at the 6-minute mark. You kind of know that this is going on. Also, no gas there either in the main. So Naniwa really going super fast into this aggression. Pylon is already at the natural expansion. This is crazy fast. Suppy adding on a Roach-Run, good timing there. He's going to see that Pylon. And guess what? Warp gates are done. 4 Zealots going to be warped in right now. Suppy sees it and knows exactly what's happening. 20 Lings in production. Speed about to finish. Got 2 Queens here. Roach-Run is not yet done. Let's see how Naniwa handles. He's going to try to get some damage on him. Straight for that natural expansion. Identify those drones. Try to take those guys out. There's 5 Zealots here. Mothership Core overhead. Time Warp going down. Covering his retreat path. You want to keep that Mothership Core away from the Queens. You've got to keep that Mothership Core alive. That's so important. The Zealots chopping up the Zealots. But now, I think Suppy's going to be perfectly fine Suppy says no big deal whatsoever, and Naniwa is going to hold off. Look at this. Suppy also not building any roaches. So throughout all that, Suppy is watching this pylon, and he's like, okay, no more zealots being warped in. I'm good. I don't need to make more roaches. 8 drones immediately started. Made the roach horn just to be safe. If there were more zealots warped in, he could have made roaches. He had that option, but he didn't need to. Great move there from Suppy. Queen in a time warp. I've never seen anything that slow. Lings being annoying, shouldn't do much. Double Forge is the follow-up here from Naniwa. Adding on the 1-1 right away. Has all of his gases now. All 4 gases. 16 probes at this mineral line. 19 at this one. Alright. Suppy's gonna get this hatchery down. Layer is already underway here. 1 evolution chamber. 2 gases at his natural. 2 gases in his main. +1 missile. So this is likely going to be... It still could be a lot of things. The speed of the layer, this could be swarm hosts even. Because that layer is super fast. Either... This could be a Spire. How strange. So, and a Hydrogen. Oh, okay. He's going to keep Naniwa guessing. So if Naniwa like scouts the Hallucinated Phoenix at this point in time, he's going to see both the Spire and a Hydrogen. And generally, you're not going to invest into both as a Zerg, because every single bit of gas is important. Vax's getting +1 is a little bit strange, in that, you know, that kind of leans towards getting a Hydrogen, or getting Hydras, right? Going into Hydra. But some Zerg players, this is what they've been doing. They make like 6 Hydras, right? 6 or 7 with the +1, and they kind of like fend off these little gateway aggressions with it. And Nano's going to scout all that. That's a lot of Zealots coming forward, though. Suppy's going to make 5 roaches. This is actually really dangerous. Naniwa stockpiling a lot of these zealots. He's going to attack them, so this third might be dead. It is dead. Very crafty move there from Naniwa. That's huge. So right when Suppy was feeling safe, after that 4-gate aggression, at any moment afterwards, Naniwa still has the ability to make 4 units at a time. And that's what he was doing at this pylon. Right? And then he just made some more, and then he attacked that third in a time when Suppy was just teching up. But anyway, this +1, this was what this could be. Since he already made the roaches, he might not even make any Hydras. But Naniwa could potentially click on the roach and see the +1 missile, and then Naniwa could be thinking, okay, he's not going Muta, because he's investing a lot in the +1, but look at this. +1 attack, Mutas. So right now, Suppy wants to reveal these roaches and that they have +1 missile. Because when you go Mutas, you want to invest as much gas as possible into the Mutas. So if you're making +1, if you're making all these roaches, that's gas that's not going to the Mutas. So that's less Mutas. Why would you ever want less Mutas? Now, this is actually going to be a little bit dangerous. Okay, Blink is on the way and he has 3 bases. See, do y'all remember that Naniwa game from yesterday where this it kind of happened in a sense like this? Naniwa had 2-2, just crazily upgraded. Oh, I love that. Crazily upgraded Stalkers. 2-2 Blink Stalkers. And it worked well for him. See, he didn't open Stargate. And a lot of Protoss are like, well, you got to open Stargate because eventually you got to be able to transition to Phoenixes when your opponent goes mass Meta. Naniwa's going to go for Stalkers. Now, this is an interesting map for Mutas because it's a pretty long rush distance. Long rush distance always means really good for Mutas. Also, the first and third are really far apart, which might be a bad thing for Mutas. Right, Mutas alone, it's bad because you can't necessarily dip and dodge between bases that easily. Whereas if it was like Whirlwind, right, where the third is like right next to the main, but hard to access by ground and reinforced by ground, where Blink Stalkers wouldn't be so good. But if you couple Mutas and a bunch of Speedlings, when we see 1-1, if you couple Mutas and a bunch of Speedlings, attack the Speedlings with the third, attack Mutas, like really spread out your opponent, that's how you can really take advantage of the space layout on Bell-shaped Vestige. Somebody doing a great job taking 2 bases here on each side. Prioritizing those gases is super important. That's all you really care about at this point. Having to cancel that hatchery, Nano doing a great job. Identifying that hatchery was there, making some zealots to kill it. Muta's going to back away. And he's going to keep investing into them. He's going to start adding a lot of links too. Spies as well. He needs to have a lot of drones. 76 drones. Good drone count for now. Now, Naniwa, what is he up to? Oh dear. He might just mass the Stalkers. Let's see here. That's what he did in the game against whoever that Zerg was he played yesterday. Let's see what happens. 6 gateways about to finish. Blink is done. Robo Bay, about 60% of the way done. 3-3 is not yet started, but he has 2-2. 2-2 is great at this point. Don't want to lose too few Stalkers. Adding on Photon Overcharge just to be safe. And he's not going to have recall. Sometimes Protoss, when they deal with this Muta stuff... Oh, great. I love this. Constantly setting his Zealot counterattacks. If he can kill it, he's not going to kill it. But he's going to weaken it. And later on, he's going to attack it. Suppy realizing this, he's like, alright, let's get some static defense. High Templar Archive. So Naniwa decided to go to Templar. And the Muta count is starting to get really scary. Like, everyone always says, like, you have to get Phoenixes to deal with the mass Muta play. Naniwa going to try something else. He's going to try hyper upgraded Stalkers. And he's going to try it with Storm. Now, he has 3 bases. The trick is, either A, he needs to take a 4th. That probe is not going to happen. Either A, he needs to take a 4th. Or B, he needs to keep focusing on the harassment. Keep focusing on denying additional bases. Or even better, try to do both, right? Attack a bunch of bases, be really annoying, and take a 4th, right? Because when you're harassing, you're causing your opponent to kind of split up their units, and that's where you can kind of feel comfortable to take a 4th. Look at this creep spread from Suppy. Oh, it's pretty sick. Pretty sick creep spread. And look at this, it's already getting into his opponent's 4th. That is annoying. Okay, 2 Archons. Whoa, he just might go for it right now. Muta's though counterattacking. How does Nano respond to this? He has some Stalkers. That's not enough Stalkers. Ling's going to come in here as well. The Zealot is not in the proper position. And the question is, does Naniwa back up? He's just chilling in the middle of the map. He doesn't have Mothership Quarter recall. And these Stalkers, these Mutas, how does he deal with these Mutas? There's 8, 5 more on the way. Well, these Mutas are going to kill everything in the Lings. Alright, meanwhile, Naniwa going across the map, going straight to his opponent's natural expansion, peeling away 2 Stalkers left hand side, has a pylon, has a War Prism over here. But his force isn't being active at all. These Mutas are just getting too much damage now. It's okay. Well, okay. He's pulling his Stalkers back. A lot of indecision here from Naniwa, leaving the 2 Immortals and 3 Archons and 3 Sentries up front, pulling the Stalkers back, adding on a billion cannons at his 3rd, trying to finish those up. The Muta's actually getting pretty low in health here. And can Naniwa deal with this? Look at this. Suppy might just try to engage these Stalkers with all of these Lings and all these Mutas and try to take him out. Naniwa coming to low ground, just going to try to blink away. Zealot's leaving behind. There's the Force Fields, bringing back his Archons, bringing back his Sentries. Naniwa is in a very dire situation as far as... He only has 1 base right now. Suppy has these 3 bases and this one on the 4th on the right-hand side. But can Suppy get a money shot off onto those Mutas? You can't let the Mutas get crazy. Not investing in the Storm is Naniwa. Just going exclusively Archon. Exclusively Archon at this point. Wow, he's still mining in his main somehow, the gas, which is actually really important. But Naniwa is down to 32 Harvesters to 64 of Suppy. Alright, here we go. The Muta's coming in here trying to kill this army, but there's a lot of Archons here. Naniwa trying to kite backwards, trying to get the splash damage off with those Archons. But does he have enough? It might not be. The Stalker's trying to blink back, the Archon trying to blink back as well, but so many Mutas in the air, and it's not going to work. Suppy is going to overwhelm the army of Naniwa, take out every single Stalker, no more anti-air here. These Immortals and Zealots are wishing life was over, and Suppy takes victory in Game 1. Oh man, super cool game. Super cool game. Suppy taking out Naniwa in the first game of this best of 3. And this next game is going to start very quickly, so normally I would go into super in-depth analysis on what happened there, but we got to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Game 2 between Naniwa and Suppy. You guys stick around. Pretty cool Game 1. All right. How you guys doing in the chat? You guys doing okay?
Men, by 35,
Whoa.
you've tortured your face with 900...
All right. Here we go. Game 2 is going to be Star Station. Coming up after this, Thorzin versus Hope is the goal. Good to see a lot of people doing well in the chat there. I hope you guys have a great day. Here we are in game number 2, map Star Station. The players, beginning with the bottom right. I present your Red Zerg player representing Team Evil Geniuses. Currently up 1-0. He is Suppy. His opponent in the top left. Your blue Protoss player. The hero from Sweden. One of them, at least. Representing Team Alliance, he is Naniwa. Last game, let's talk about it as this gets underway. Naniwa did a great job with the gateway aggression. Took out his opponent's natural. Or not took out his opponent's natural. Well, took out his opponent's third is what I meant. Suppy did an equally great job identifying exactly what was going on in the beginning, but it was pretty back and forth in that sense, so I'll talk about it in a second. Where that initial aggression happened from Naniwa. It was pretty fast. Naniwa only invested he didn't invest that much into it, right? It's not like he made like 15 or 14 zealots. Only made about 5, right? 5, I think it was 5 zealots in total. And then behind that, double forge, 3 gases, right? That was his initial aggression, just the 5 zealots. Somebody did a great job identifying that and only making lings to deal with it, right? He had a Roach Warren done. He had a Roach Warren on the way and done when it was happening. And a lesser Zerg player would have made some roaches, freaking out, right? But right after Suppy dealt with that initial attack, he went right into jumps. He's watching that forward pylon, saw nothing being warped in. And he's like, okay, I'm good. Then he took the third. And then Naniwa Naniwa did something even more clever. Not even more clever, but equally as brilliant, right? He had another pylon a little bit further back, and kind of in the same area, right? A little bit past, a minute or two beyond, where the third is being taken. Naniwa obviously can be able to identify when that third timing is. And he kind of stored up some zealots. That was going to be his next major attack, right? About 7 or 8 zealots. At that point in the game, that's about the same cost investment per time in the game, right? 5 zealots at whatever mark versus 8 zealots per later on. Same kind of investment versus your economy, like how big your economy is, right? So he made that investment, killed the third. Great. That's a great move. And then we saw some really cool stuff. With Suppy going for the +1 on the missile attacks with no intention. Even got a Hydra net. No intention of making Hydras. He just knew that a Hallucinated Phoenix was inevitable from Naniwa. He's like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make +1 missile. I make +1 missile. Kind of throw my opponent off. Because if my opponent, I can make a few roaches. Of course, he had to make the roaches deal with the zealots. It remains to be seen if he would have made Hydras at all. Because he definitely made the roaches deal with the zealots. So when you're making those roaches, you don't really want to spend money on Hydras because you're already spending that gas on the roaches. Right? And then you already have that unit out that your opponent can click on and see the +1. So he revealed the +1. But I think Naniwa, like, all that being said, I think Naniwa kind of knew what was going on. Kind of knew about the mutas. But then Naniwa made the decision to just go for 2/2 Blink Stalkers and Archons. And then there was that weird situation at the end there where he was very indecisive as to what he wanted to do. When you go out in the middle of the map and then the mutas attack, you got to have Mothership Port to recall back, or what do you do, right? But then it's a tricky situation where how do you keep your opponent from expanding across the map? And that's why I thought Naniwa was getting the War Prison, to start sending that everywhere, which is great to deny bases. And then you can keep your Stalkers back home to deal with everything. But anyway, very cool game 1. Game 2, we got a Stargate here at the natural expansion from Naniwa. Very interesting placement of it. He's like, all right, I'll put it in the wall. And this is kind of cool because he opened Gateway, Stargate, Forge. This is so cool. And when you make these buildings, they look the same, right? And they're kind of timed out the same. Like, you put them down at the same time about. So if your opponent just looks at him, like if he just looks at him without clicking on him with the Overlord, he thinks it's going to be 2 more gateways, right? But it's not. You have to click on it to see it's a Forge and a Stargate. So that's actually really cool. Put the Stargate and Forge in his wall. Naniwa, so smart. But I think, yeah, Suppy does know this is going on now. Let's see how he reacts. We got a Spore in his main, Spore in his natural. 2 Evo chambers. Crafty. Hasn't started upgrading. Is it going to be +1 melee? Ah. So this map is great for like ultras. Because like there's so much open space, ultras can really get those surrounds. Really get that pack of ultras and line them in a, you can line them up like 10 ultras side on side and you can actually move across the map. Star Station. Not really, but you get the point. Like versus a map like what we just saw, Belshir Vestige or Akalon Waste, where there's not that much, especially around your opponent's third, right? Especially around your opponent's third. There's a lot of open space where ultras can be fun. So initially, that's what I'm thinking this is, right? 1-1, layer already on the way. Once the layer finishes, right away, Infestation Pit. And some players will kind of deviate their strategies a little bit at that point, right? Some players go directly for the ultras, skip the 3-3, right? Just stay on 2-2, just go really fast ultras. Some players will actually get Pathfinder Glance on their Infestation Pit and start investing into a few Infestors. And then add on ultras later and kind of get the 3-3, but then set up their additional bases a little bit quicker, right? So I'll have to see what Suppy ends up going for. Now, I know Suppy and Scarlet talk a lot and stuff. And Scarlet, she kind of came up with the style, or not came up, but she put her own little twist. Wow, good Phoenix transfer here. Catching the drone transfer. Oh, it's good. Okay, Infestation right away. Very standard off the layer. Scarlet would get the Pathogen Glance and make some Infestors. Like that she kind of started that trend. Before it was all about, all right, oops, like the last stream hack. It was all about, okay, let's just get the 2-2, get a bunch of Ultras and go. Go kill that third. Suppy changing things up a little bit. Gosh, these Phoenixes. Naniwa. Why are you so good? Look at this. Perfect game so far from Naniwa. 681-0 resources lost. Now let's see what Naniwa's up to. We've been looking too much at Suppy. Stargate Forge. Not a lot of gateways here. It's really getting a fast third out. Really getting a fast third. Now, he needs to... He's been identified. Let's see what he's identified here. He saw the fast layer. Saw the double Evo. Hasn't seen the Infestation bit, but he can probably guess. So he should probably know what's going on. Now, a typical response would be straight into Archons, right? Straight into Storm. Straight into Templar. That's exactly what's happening. Getting the Templar Archives right when you get that third base. That's really cool because going Templar, it's like... It's so gas intensive. You want 3 bases. You want 6 gases. So Naniwa taking a very fast third base, very fast 6 gases, and very fast 9 Templars. These guys' builds are kind of identical if you think about it, right? And that's how kind of StarCraft works. Both players investing big into the economy and big into the tech. Right? Very fast Templar Archives, very fast Infestation Pit. When Hive finishes, Ultra's Cavern is going to be on the way. Now, it's going to be up to... And Naniwa knows exactly what's happening here. He knows exactly what's happening. Look. He's seen the Infestation Pit. He saw the Hive. He saw double evolution chambers. There's nothing else that can be, right? So he should have a good idea of what's happening. The question is, how does he respond? Archons, solid choice. Now, the trick is, do you try to get Storm? Because Storm is great against slings, and with a composition like this, there's going to be a lot of things. Right? Oh, whoa. Anyway. Is this Void Ray? This might be Void Ray. This explains why he's not going to Storm. So, adding on the +1, adding on 2 additional Stargates on 3 bases. Okay, this is a good timing. Oh. Well, there's Infestors. Infestors are dangerous. But Ultra's aren't going to be out for another however many seconds. So Naniwa's going to try to exploit this time and recall out. We saw this against Jadong in the last stream map, right? On this map. Some of y'all remember that. Naniwa advancing across the map here. Don't want to get fungled. Don't want the Phoenixes to get fungled. Looking, seeing what's up. 4 Ultras on the way. Once the 4 Ultras are out, this is dead. And this is backing up. Void Rays behind this is super cool. Watch out for the fungal! Oh. Okay, that was a good fungal. It was just a pat. Just be like, Suppy's like, you know what? I'm here. I'm here. Don't just come at me. He's trying to buy time for the ultras, right? More zealots. Deny the third and recall? Is that what's happening here? Is that what's happening? Deny the third and recall. Because once ultras get out, I don't see this working. But the Ling's coming in here. Nano with a very powerful push. And this is just a poke, guys. He's making void rays behind this. Ideally... Oh, that's a lot of queens. Oh, great fungal on the zealots. Great fungal. Another fungal going down. Another great fungal. Ultra's coming out here for Suppy. And now this is going to get crushed. This is where Nano should be looking for the Mothership Core and recalling. I think it'll get crushed. Phoenix is picking up queens, picking up stuff. No, it's getting crushed. Isn't it? Yeah. So no recall, not getting those units alive. But Nano doesn't care that much. Even if he kills that third, that'd be huge. Nano doesn't care that much. He's okay with how that went. He killed a lot of drones. What's cool is behind this. These guys. Void Rays. Now, Nano has to make sure he doesn't die to this counter, and he's happy. So let's see what happens. Suppy identifying a late game plan right here. Adding on infestors, adding on drones, right? Sees the Void Rays backing up, realizing, okay, this Ling ultra timing might not work. Now, queens are actually pretty darn good against Void Rays, believe it or not. The Void Rays don't get a bonus against queens. Oh, look at that! The Zealot counterattack taking out the hatchery. Naniwa looking to extend this series up 156 to 143. Great moves from him so far. And again, he's just stockpiling the Void Rays. Such cool play. Oh, so cool. It's not like he opened them, right? It's not like he opened Void Rays. It's like, okay, here's my plan. I'm gonna go what I usually do, this Zealot Archon thing, with some Phoenixes. I'm gonna store up some Void Rays for much later on. Really thinking about the late game and really identifying, how we can get the most damage done. +2 on these Zealots too. Not investing into the armor that much. And this is a decision from the beginning, right? Just focusing on the attacks as he realizes the Zealots are probably gonna die quick anyway. Let's just get as much damage done as fast as possible. Let's spend that gas we're to spend on armor. Let's spend that gas on Void Rays. Let's do that, and Void Ray upgrades, and High Templar. I wonder how good Storm would be here. He's just focusing on Archon Void Ray. But with all these Lings, imagine how good Storm would be. And again, the Queens and Infestors, you know what's good against that? Feedback. Feedback is really good. So yeah, here's what we talked about. Getting the +1 armor, upgrading the air. Upgrading the air. So now the question is, how is Suppy going to handle this? He has a solid composition as far as anti-air is concerned. Infestors, Queens. Do you add more Infestors? Do you add more Queens? Suppy's like, okay, you know what? I'll do both. 2 more Queens, 2 more Infestors. I love it. I think it's great. So if he just gets a Money Void Ray onto the Void Rays, the Queens will do the rest. A Money Fungal onto the Void Rays. Nano needs to split up, needs to spread out his units. And try to engage. This is a lot of stuff from Suppy. The Mothership Core coming forward. The Void Rays activating. Prismatic alignment onto those Ultras. But now the Queens are going to start trying to do that damage. Fungals continue to be laid onto these Void Rays. Does Suppy have enough to crush this? More Zealots being warped in. Now that the Ultras are gone, now that the Lings are gone, those are the tanking units. Now there's nothing to stop these units from getting to the Spellcasters, and Suppy might just die here. Naniwa, the brilliant build on this game number 2 of Star Station. Gonna extend into this base on the right-hand side. Goodbye Hatchery, a game where Suppy has been struggling to hold on to these expansions. His idea of a unit composition was great. It's just Naniwa, I think, is too far ahead. It took him too off guard. Suppy gonna try to counterattack. That's a great move here. These Lings